Number view. Our topic for today is police legitimacy in the media, specifically Twitter. I'm Catherine. And
I'm Maria.
I'm Javita.
I'm Jordan.
And I'm Caitlin.
So today our agenda is to understand what is police legitimacy and then how it's affected in media, especially Twitter, and then we'll look at positive views and negative views, and then recommendations and suggestions, and we'll conclude. So to start,
what is police legitimacy? So police legitimacy is how the community perceives the police force in terms of being honest, truthful, showing integrity and accountability, and to follow their duty to serve and protect the community. They want to create and form positive relationships with members of the community and look out for the best interests of them. Positive relationships enables members to report and prevent crimes in neighborhoods as well as obey laws.
So we have a video that shows how police are interacting with community members, and we'll just watch that for now.
A decade.
So in my defense, there are others who are creating new accounts all the time, joining in on the conversation, and that includes those who protect and serve.
Today, Amar introduces us to an officer who is making an impression with 140 characters or less. Handing out traffic tickets, Constable Curtis Warner isn't met with a lot of gratitude.
Volunteer payment option available to is $136. The payment date for that is November 18th. Very rarely in the last 3 years that I've worked in the unit do I ever get a genuine, heartfelt thank you for giving me a ticket, or I really appreciate I have to pay a fine now.
But he's found a way to engage with the public that earns more positive attention than flashing red and blues in a rear view mirror.
Maybe the next time, I do stop somebody and they follow me on Twitter and say, hey, I appreciate this and I know why you're doing it, as opposed to people that, are really constantly upset and want to blame us for why they were speeding or why they didn't stop at a stop sign.
Constable Warner's online efforts are part of a collective effort by Regina Police Service. Today, 16 Twitter accounts are associated with the police service, including RPS Traffic Unit, Constable Warner's Twitter handle. Together, they have nearly 40,000 follows, with most eyes on the official Regina Police account.
People appreciate having the ability to reach out and ask a question and get a response. I think that people very much like that, or even express a concern. They may not always be happy with the response, but we certainly do our best to respond in a timely way and to give a plain and honest answer.
Just be careful, okay?
For Constable Warner, not every incident requires a tweet. He sends messages that warn of collisions, informs followers of traffic initiatives and bad driving behavior, like driving while intoxicated.
Deep breath and blow.
Or not wearing a seatbelt.
So you don't have a working seatbelt in your vehicle?
But one message, he says, is particularly well received by his followers, is a bit self-deprecating in nature.
There's no shortage of humor related to police officers or traffic or any of that kind of stuff. So that's another way to engage people, and it's always good to make people smile and laugh.
Of course, not all the online interaction is silly memes and cheerful compliments.
I have no problem, arguing my point and saying my piece, and also at the same time listen to what they have to say. But at the end of the day, some people are absolutely unreasonable. They just want to kind of say their piece and spout off, and a lot of the time you just won't engage the person.
We're not perfect, but we certainly don't want to be a bad citizen on Twitter. So we work at, again, taking that deep breath, taking that moment to consider what the response should be and how it will be perceived, and then always trying to take the high road.
And as with most things, the high road will usually get you where you want to be, certainly when you have 140 characters in which to get a message across.
So the tweet says, just stop a suspected impaired driver, leaving in his lane and slowing for green lights. He was just enjoying ice cream. #tasty treats.
Popovich says an online presence helps officers in providing information directly to the people who want it. And for those who might argue an officer pulling over to type a tweet is a bit of a waste of time,
I would draw the comparison with an officer being on the beat, walking downtown and taking the time to talk to passersby or stop in to see business owners.
Twitter is really just a new approach to community policing, knowing who you serve and ensuring they know who's behind the badge. Now, a Twitter handle.
So to continue with that, we will focus on how the media is affected into Twitter and police legitimacy. So to understand how social forums work, why there's social forums, and why especially Twitter helps reach out to communities. How unlawful forces are now being spread through social media at mass rates. For example, videos of officers committing brutal acts of violence, particularly towards young black men, having been the top discussion for police legitimacy. So basically, having Twitter as a media form helps to reach out to community members to get a response, which is rare because we want to understand how they can help each other out, police and the community. So, and then we'll look into the positive effects.
So evidence suggests that Twitter has been an effective tool to gather information from the public through an online version of anonymous tips. And so social media has become like an increasingly popular way for police forces to communicate with the public, and they can have positive effects on the public perception of the police. A large number of citizens and the public do use Twitter to engage with the police, whether it's just asking a question or expressing their concerns with the police or reporting something they saw, anonymous tips. And through that, it increases the perception for the police through the public by establishing an online relationship with the citizens. And evidence suggests that Twitter has been an effective tool to gather information through the public, through these anonymous tips. And research has also shown that police legitimacy relies on micro-level interaction with citizens, and Twitter tends to successfully achieve this goal. So having this online presence with them allows the police to communicate directly with the citizens who wish to communicate with the police directly, and allows them to reach a larger number of followers at a much quicker amount of time.
Yeah, so here are two examples of some tweets that were tweeted by, one was tweeted by a citizen and the other was tweeted by a police officer, both being retweeted by the official Toronto Police Services Twitter. One of them says, "Our Toronto Police is giving spirit as they light the way for cyclists. Hashtag BikeTO." And another one, "Love hanging with the hashtag kids, helping out with skate fitting for their skating program, Cops and Kids." This shows that the police are trying to, or it sort of broadcasts what they're doing with the community and how they're communicating and interacting with them.
It goes back to like community policing. It allows them to show their interactions in the public. For example, attending pride parades and attending maybe like cultural events. It allows them to appeal to that. Like it increases the police legitimacy among that group that they're
trying to
interacting with more. Yeah.
Okay, so the negative side of things. I think that although there's definitely a lot of positive things that can come from the police tweeting and everything, it can also have a very large negative impact on the society's view of police. So here's just a couple examples. To our right, we have DeFonte Miller, which is the case we're going to be discussing today, who was beaten by a police officer in Toronto, and the case had a lot of retweets. This is getting around a whole bunch of the audience and making police look even worse. So we are going to watch the video of DeFonte Miller's case, and we'll discuss further afterwards.
So in his case, Tory speaks out about how he was reporting how it was handled. So here's the case.
To a disturbing beating involving an off-duty Toronto police officer and a young man who's now left with life-altering injuries, an incident that involves not only one, but two police forces.
I'm very sorry for what happened to this young man, and there are some very troubling aspects to this that I think, should be and need to be examined.
Toronto's mayor troubled by what he's read in a confidential report about the beating of 19-year-old DeFonte Miller. Speaking at a press conference today, he chose his words carefully, both as mayor and member of Toronto's Police Services Board.
These kinds of incidents are deeply troubling.
Yeah? Why?
This is the Toronto officer the province's police watchdog charged last week with assaulting Miller. Michael Terrio, seen here in this YouTube video from 2015. Terrio is accused of chasing and beating Miller with a metal pipe and whippy back in December. Terrio was off duty at the time, and he wasn't alone. The SIU has also charged his brother with assault in the same incident. And City News was the first to learn of another family connection. Terrio's father is a veteran investigator in Toronto's Professional Standards Unit, or Internal Affairs, a unit that is only now investigating what happened following the SIU's charges.
I have read things that I'm not allowed to share with the public at this stage because I'm a member of the Police Services Board, and I will only say there are a number of unanswered questions which remain with respect to the process that was or was not followed here in terms of the notification of the SIU.
That's because Miller's lawyer alleges both Durham and Toronto police failed to notify the SIU about the incident. He did. Durham police initially charging Miller, despite him being beaten so badly, his family says he will lose his eye. Durham police tell City News after investigation it chose not to charge the Terrio brothers, adding it was up to Toronto police to alert the SIU an off-duty officer was allegedly involved in an incident that left a civilian badly injured. Reached by phone today, Miller's lawyer, Julian Falconer, says he expects the truth to come out at the Toronto Police Services Board.
Once the Police Services Board members, including the mayor, have done their job.
Okay. So this is just one of the many examples that have been portrayed on Twitter.
And it doesn't make police look very good.
No, and it shouldn't. But at the same time, it can become over-publicized because of the platform it's using. So Twitter's platform creates opportunities for people who have negative views of the police and takes things out of context and apply views of one isolated incident to entire police forces. So although only a couple of officers are involved, it can create a larger perception. Yeah.
Okay, so in 1999 in the U.S., they came up with a group or a project, the National Police Accountability Project. It's a non-profit, public interested organization that focuses on protecting human and civil rights of individuals against things that may occur between the police. So it gives the people, I guess, a sense of security, knowing that if there is one bad apple that does something, they're going to be protected.
So with this police accountability project, we could implement a similar project in communities in Toronto and across Canada. It will help to establish a strong and positive communication between society and police officers.
And that is to conclude. That is our topic for today. So we see how Twitter can be a positive and a negative effect, but more towards as a recommendation, we look forward to Twitter being used more into community policing and how it can help us members of society get together and understand what the crime rates are, what crimes are happening, and how we can prevent further actions or further incidents to happen. So I think most of the outcome out of police legitimacy and Twitter is expecting to be a positive outcome, and that is concluded. Thank you for tuning in.